Soak is someone that I knew their name long before I knew anything else about them. I can remember kind of in the early 2000s, 2010s, seeing that name spray painted on walls all over the city and kind of taking a bit of joy in that my side of the city is being represented somehow with a bit of rebellion, sort of that attitude of like, yeah, I'm here. Um, and even if you don't want to look at me, I'm still here. And so yeah, I can remember, walking past that tag a lot and just, feeling a little bit of pride that like, yeah, someone is showing us to all of these people who think kind of Oxford's this sort of pristine playground of the rich and famous. Um, so yeah, the poem and the kind of location on the tour is basically based around an Oxford Mail campaign where the Oxford Mail kind of collaborated with Thames Valley Police to kind of demonise this artist and described him as a gang armed with spray cans, um, which I thought was quite funny. In the Oxford Mail article, it interviews a police, a high-ranking police officer who says, people don't want to see graffiti because it reminds them of deprived areas. Um, and then later on in the article, a city councillor says, we're spending £100,000 a year on cleaning up graffiti. And so what it kind of immediately made me think was, okay, so you're spending £100,000 a year, so you don't have to think about deprived areas. And that was kind of the first bit of inspiration for this poem, really. In my opinion, maybe that £100,000 could have been invested in a space for people to create art, for people to share art, and express themselves creatively, rather than spending £100,000 on painting over something what I think it can be quite beautiful in grey, in a shade of grey that doesn't even match the wall quite often. Yeah, so this Oxford Mail campaign, it kind of led to a bit of a tit for tat battle, basically, between Soak and the newspaper. Them saying we've got to stop this guy, him writing on a on the ice rink, you can't stop me, and that kind of escalating, that kind of adversarial relationship, I guess, only kind of escalated things. It definitely didn't stop any of the activity. I think Soak's a really talented artist that maybe in another city would have been celebrated. But in Oxford, it kind of doesn't fit the image of the city. I'm really glad to say that when we launched the Forgotten Stories tour with an exhibition at the old fire station, we were able to commission Soak to come and paint a piece in the gallery. And so, yeah, he has had his work displayed in an art gallery in Oxford now. But yeah, for a long time was kind of seen as by some people as a devil, as a menace. He was described in some newspaper articles as. But then others, such as myself, saw him as a bit of a hero and a bit of someone who was actually representing my side of Oxford in town. Just sort of thinking back to kind of the roots of graffiti in New York, in the late 70s, early 80s, people would risk their life to paint their work on the side of a train, and then go uptown, go to a rich area and see that train go past, and so that their name had been seen uptown. And I think there's an element of that going on here, that sort of if you can't, if you haven't got the opportunity to paint a massive, beautiful scene and sign your name at the bottom of it, make your name the big, beautiful scene, and kind of make yourself seen in the world in that way. I think there's a need for human beings to be seen. You know, when we don't feel seen, we find ways to make ourselves seen, and I think that's a big part of what Soak was doing for himself, but also kind of for that part of Oxford's community that is not part of that traditional kind of postcard pristine image.